Today we are going to be reading about the Tower of Babel, and we're going to be talking about things that you may have not known about the Tower of Babel before. Before we get started, go ahead and like, subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, this is actually one of the most interesting stories, I think, in the whole entire Bible. So, we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. Okay, let's see here. Verse 1. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer and Magog and Madai, and Javan and Tubal and Meshach and Tyrus, and the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphath and Togmar, and the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodaman. By these were the isles of the Gentiles, dividing their lands, every one after his tongue, after the families and their nations. Okay, so these are simply the line of Japheth, or some of the people in the line of Japheth, and if you don't know, well, I guess you probably would have known because we just read it, but the line of Japheth are Gentiles, and the opposite of a Gentile is a Jew, okay? If you didn't know that. And let's just continue reading. Verse 6. And the sons of Ham, Cush and Mizraim, and Phut, and Canaan. And I'm pretty sure, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the Hebrew name for Egypt is Phut, okay? Or it's Cush, actually. It might be Cush. Let me see if Siri has an answer for us. What is the name... Oh. What is Hebrew... Come on. What is the name of Egypt in Hebrew?
I can't translate it.
She can't translate into Hebrew. Of course you can't. Wait, what if I ask? What is the name of Egypt in Yiddish?
Here's what I found.
Okay, anyways, let's keep going. Verse 7. And the sons of Cush, Sabah and Havilah, and Sabta, and Raamah, and Sabteka. Really hard names. And Sabteka. Imagine you look at your child. Oh, you look like a Sabteka. A Sabteka. Anyways, and the sons of Raamah, Sheba, and Dedan, and Cush begat Nimrod, and he began to be a mighty one in the earth, and he was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. So Nimrod is the leader of Babel, and we're going to read about the Tower of Babel in the next chapter. So yeah, continuing in verse 11. Out of that land went forth Ashur, and builded Nineveh. And the city Rehoboth and Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah, the same as a great city. And just before I continue reading, I guess, just so you know, this video is going to be a bit of a shorter one, just because we're reading only 2 chapters today. But yeah, same as a great city. Verse 13. And Mizraim, okay, this is my last time going between it. It's either Cush or Mizraim, of what Egypt is, the Hebrew name of Egypt is. Should I look it up? I think I'll look it up just so you guys can know, because I'm sure you guys are really desperate. We're gonna trust Google Translate. Okay, right here. So the first language is gonna be English. Why is that just not the default one? And the second one is gonna be Hebrew. I already have it right here. Okay, so let's look at this up. So we're going to look up, I guess, I don't know, capitalizing it probably doesn't matter. Egypt. Oh, come on, it doesn't even have a... what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to I'm putting it back into the search engine. The search engine, I don't know, I called it that. And we're going to see if it pronounces it. Bro, can I look? How do you pronounce Egypt in Hebrew? Come on. How do you pronounce Egypt in Hebrew? Not and Hebrew. Mizraim. I got it. And now that I actually remembered, Egypt is actually in the land of Cush, and it's called Mizraim in Hebrew. There you go, guys. I'm sure you guys were really desperate to know that. Okay, I think I was in verse 13 or something. And Mizraim begat Ludim, and Ananim, and Labi, and Lahabim, and Naphtuhim, and Petrusuhim. Mizraim really must have wanted to stick with the Eim first name, the last part of the first name, the Eim. Like, imagine, name your whole family, okay? The dad's Mizraim, another son, Ludim, Ananim, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Petrusuhim, Kelasuhim, out of whom came Philistim and Capharim. Wow. Verse 15. And Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, the Amorite, the Girgasite, the Hivite, the Archite, the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. And afterward were the families of Canaanites spread abroad. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon all the way into Gerar, unto Gaza. This might be the first place that Gaza is mentioned in the Bible. If you know about the wars going on. Gaza. As thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zeboim. Oh, I would love that name. Zeboim. This sounds like a cartoon character when they hit a wall. Zeboim. Sorry. And even unto Lasha. These are the sons of Ham. I might even name my child that whenever I grow up. Come here, Zeboim. Get off the counter, Zeboim. Okay, sorry. Even Elisha. These are the sons of Ham, after their families, after their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations. 21. Unto Shem, also the father of the children of Eber, and also Shem is where the word Semitic comes from. So, yes. The children of Shem, Elam, Ashur, and Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. I've memorized the whole genealogy of Jesus. I memorized it when I was probably 11 or 12. But I'm not a nerd. Let's see if I can say. Actually, I kind of forgot a lot of them because the reason I only forgot like 5 of them, I think. And the reason is because they all start with A's. But let's go ahead. And we're going to do it, okay? I'm turning this into a short. I'm 100%. We're at 10 minutes right now. Ready? Or 9 minutes. Okay, I already forgot the first one. Adam, obviously. Adam, Seth, Enos, Canaan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, Shem, Arphaxad, Selah, Eber, Nahor, Terah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Judah, Phares, Hezron, Ram, Nimedad, Nahshon, Salmon, Boaz, Obed, Jesse, David, Solomon, Rehoboam, Abijah, Asa, Jehoshaphat, Joram, Uzziah, Hezekiah, Manasseh. And I think that's where I forgot. And then obviously it goes to Joseph and then Jesus. Or it might say Mary in it instead. But that's just the Matthew version. There's one in Matthew and one in Luke. Anyways, now let's continue. Ready? We are in verse 23. And the children of Aram, Uz, and Hul, and Gether, and Mash, and Arphaxad begat Salah, and Salah begat Eber, and unto Eber were born 2 sons. The name of one is Peleg, for in his days was he divided. And his brother's name was Joktan. I also like that name. Joktan. Sounds Joktan. Anyways, so it says that in the days that Peleg lived, was whenever the earth split. I have a whole video on it. I'll link it in the description. I'm going to start, instead of putting them up there, just putting them in the description, because then I have to each time remember when I pointed so that I can add it up there. So it's going to be in the description. I talked about, is Pangea biblical? I did it with my mom. But if you want to know more about that story, and I possibly will do a separate video about this. Maybe not. I don't know. So yeah, I go to big detail on just specifically that verse and a lot of other verses. Joktan, verse 26. And Joktan begot Almudad, and Sheleph, and Hazamarpheth, and Jara, and Hadoram, and Uzzal, and Dikla, and Obal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir. Gosh, how many more verses are there in this chapter? And Ophir, and Havilah, and I also like Havilah. Sorry about me saying all the names that I like. And Jobab, and all these were the sons of Joktan, and their dwellings. So those were just the sons of Joktan. Sheesh. And their dwellings was from Mesha, as thou goest unto Sephar, a mount of the east. These are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their tongues, and their lands, after their nations. These are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations, and their nations. And by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. End chapter 10. I think that's the fastest we might have ever ended a chapter in this series so far. On to chapter 11. Let's see here. Where am I at? Okay, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that there found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to one another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly, right? Thoroughly, something like that. And they had brick for stone, and slime, and had they for mortar. The first time slime's mentioned in the Bible. Jeez, I don't know why I'm like that. I always wonder when or like, I don't know. I guess this might be a thing I only did, but with my sister, obviously, my sister, like, whenever I started truly, like, studying the Bible, so I was 11 to 12, and obviously now I'm 13, but, so let's just say I was 12, then she would have been, like, why's my head not working? 9? Sounds right. 8 or 9, and trying to get her to want to study the Bible, or at least read the Bible, because obviously, since she's younger, she didn't necessarily want to as much. Just kind of thought it was boring. I was like, Everly. Psalms, I forgot the verse. The book of Psalms, guess what it says? It says unicorn. Oh, there's unicorns in the Bible. I actually kind of want to do a video about that. Long story short, it definitely was not an actual unicorn. And it was actually probably an ox, but besides that, let's get back into our lesson. I don't even know where I was at. Okay, verse 4. And they said, Go to, let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. So they didn't want everyone else to spread out. So that was their goal. Their goal was to make everyone stay in the same place, and that they would be famous, pretty much. So keep that in mind. They wanted to make everyone stay in the same spot. So the people decided they wanted to build a tower, and they claimed that it would be so tall that it would reach heaven, okay? Verse 5. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Let us go down, and there confound their language. And there's another time where it says, let us. He was talking to angels, okay? Go to the first episode of the series called, it's not my very first episode on this channel. The first episode of the series where I read the whole Bible is called Creation versus the Fall. You can learn more information about that, okay? Let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore the name of it is Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence the Lord scattered them abroad the face of the earth. So here, God was so upset. Keep in mind, they all had one language. They were all speaking one language. And imagine, if it wasn't for this, imagine how easy it would be to spread the gospel if there was only one language. As far as going into different countries, and translating the Bible. It would have never been an issue because there would have just been one language. But, and one thing actually that, before I guess I even was maybe a Christian, I say that, I'm 13, but before I was probably like 8 or something. I guess I got saved when I was 8. Let's see here. Whenever I was probably 7, maybe even after I was a Christian. When I was a Christian, whenever I didn't study the Bible, and I still find it almost cringy that I'm saying that, because I was 8 when I got saved, and I'm only 13. But I always wondered, like, how does language even work? Like, how does language work? Like, okay, what makes, like, I almost was thinking, okay, the letter B in Spanish is this letter thing, and or letter B in Hebrew. I don't know. You just know how a little child's brain works. But this is where the earth got split. Okay? So God was so upset that they had the pride to try to build a tower so big that it could reach heaven, and that they try to make themselves higher than everyone else. He was so upset that he decided to go down and confuse their language. And so notice that I said that it was a punishment. That he punished them by confusing their languages. And guess what? It says that they scattered around. Or they scattered abroad. That's when they spread out. And the people's goal, the people that, I guess, tried to build the tower, their goal was to build it so that people would want to stay there. But I guess their plan completely backfired. And it made everyone have to spread abroad and separate because they wouldn't be able to communicate if they spoke the same language. Okay? But notice that it was a punishment. But if you think about it, there's another place. I'm trying to do this with my leg. There's another place in the Bible where God confused their language. And it's in Acts chapter 2. So we're going to turn there. The book of Acts, chapter 2. Let's see here. Let's just start in verse. We're going to start in verse 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven, as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues, like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Ghost, and began to speak with other tongues, as the Spirit gave them utterance. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude come together and were confounded, because they heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all of these that speak Galileans? And how we hear every man in our own tongue? And I'm going to skip these verses over these long countries. Verse 11, Cretes and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of God. So here we see that their language was confused, but it was a blessing because they started speaking the wonderful works of God, and they started speaking in tongues. Okay? So that's another example of whenever. The only other example I can think of, or as far, I don't know, I guess technically not, but when God confused their languages. Okay? We're going to go back into Genesis chapter 11. Go to verse 10. Now, a lot of reading. I'm going to go ahead and put this down, just because I don't really have too many more notes. So it says in verse 10. Let me go there. I'm going to sit like this. Okay? I'm going to sit like a man with my socks. Verse 10. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100, and we already read Shem's genealogy in the last chapter, but it's just kind of a retelling, I guess. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old, and he begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived 100. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 530 years, and begat Salah. Wait, let me see how I say it. Shem, I normally say it Selah, but probably because in Matthew it's spelled different. Salah, begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Salah lived 30 years after he begat Eber, and Eber is where I'm pretty sure the word Hebrew comes from. Pretty sure at least. And Saul lived after he begat Eber 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years, and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years, and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 230 years, and begat Serug. And Reu lived after he begat Serug 270 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived... Oh, my foot fell asleep. After he begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years, and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years, and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 109 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years, and he begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, Haran, and Haran begot Lot. Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah. Nahor. Sorry, give me a second to think. Terah, Abraham. Who's Nahor again? Nahor. Okay, Nahor would be Abraham's grandpa. The grandfather of Abram. So it says, where am I at? Okay. And the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren, and she had no child, and Terah, why am I saying Terah? And Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, and his son's son, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son, Abram's wife, and they went with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go in the land of Canaan, And they dwelt there in Haran, dwelt there in the days of Terah were 205 years. And Terah died in Haran. So, we finished. That was a longer video than I thought it would be, but we finished Genesis chapter 10 through 11. So we see Abram. He not named Abraham yet. He had a wife named Sarai, which I'm pretty sure is his stepsister, something like that, half sister. And she was barren. So we'll pick up on the story of Abraham, or Abram, and Sarai in the next episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you like and subscribe. Also, go check out my shorts that I've been posting on this channel. I post every single day, or I'm trying to post every single day, just an encouraging word from the Bible. Please make sure you share this with at least 3 people. 3 people. Have a good day. Goodbye.